30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and Young Guns Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in on what is kind of a cloudy, overcast Monday. I'll explain what all this is about in just a moment. Billy, if you would, get Kelly Holcomb up right off the bat. So, Kelly, I now have a new jacket with a beautiful last-minute toy store logo. This is one piece of swag that I will accept. I'm hoping that this meets your approval, but let me also say if it doesn't, I don't really care.
I know you don't. Yeah, I think you really do because you always bring it up, but it does look pretty nice. It looks like new age stuff that you never wear, so I'm good with it. I know it's free, though.
So this is Dale Roble. Dale is the minister, and I hope I say this right, at Highland Park Church, right next to Channel 4, just off of White Bridge Road on Knob Road. Years ago, he made the decision to not let Last Minute Toy Store go in the dumper, but instead doubled down the efforts. Next Friday, our show will broadcast from the first day of it. And the reason I want us to be there is I want all of you all to see why I'm so passionate about this. Now, if you end up watching it and it doesn't move you, so be it. Maybe you don't have a heart. But for a lot of you, why were we all looking at Kelly when you said that? Billy, were you thinking of Kelly?
Maybe.
But seriously, if this doesn't move you, what they're doing for families in need at Christmas time, nothing will. Tell people what's going on real quick.
Well, the Last Minute Toy Store is be our 30th year providing gifts and toys to girls and boys right here in Nashville, Tennessee. And, it wasn't started by the Community Foundation, Pastor Paul Slint, 61st Avenue as a church that took it over for a long time. I've been involved for 18 years. And, this last year we provided Christmas to about right at about 7,000 children in Nashville.
7,000?
It was actually 6,900, but we'll round up in some odd. But, it just depends. We have just started and completed our registration process. We have over 3,000 families that have registered. So if there are 3 per child, you can do the math. If there are 2 per child, you can do the math. So some of that goes into it. But the unique thing about the Last Minute Toy Store is it is an all-volunteer organization. Nobody's paid. We have about 1,000 volunteers that it takes to run the Last Minute Toy Store
for those 3 days.
For those 3 days and during the week, from set up to tear down. But each day there's about 300 volunteers there every day. And there's still some slots. I think there's about 200 slots still available. But everybody there.
So, okay, hold on. How does a person say, I want to be a volunteer if they're moved to do so?
Yeah, they go to lastminutetoystore.com, and then what you do is you can click on what you're interested in doing. So, for instance, you can donate is one way. You can give a toy. Where else can you go and give a toy and then come down and help us give that toy to the person that needs it? So what happens is you can donate. You can come help people shop. It's not the children. It's their moms, dads, parents, and guardians. So you can help them shop. You can work stations and stack toys. You can, also help people outside when they go pick up their books, bikes, sporting good items that are outside and everything, and then help them load into shuttles. We have people that like to register. You have people that like to count inventory. it is just really a community effort. And as you know, it's kind of like a who's who of Nashville that comes out, and it's really become kind of a Nashville institution, and something that is not easy to do, and certainly not easy, as you know, to pull together 1,000 volunteers and the amount of toys we're talking about and provide them in 3 days to 6,000-7,000 people or more.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and so you can be part of that in any way that you would want to be part of. It could be volunteering, could be donating, and right now registration is full. But normally, what we would say is, hey, if you're needing help, give us a call. That we may have some that are duplicates. Some people sadly do sign up twice, but we go through, check for that, and our guests even have to qualify. So it's not just a free for all. This is not just a free Walmart. If they receive gifts from Angel Tree or Nashville's other charities, then they can't get them here as well. So, the ones that we have, we feel like are truly in need. And then we really try to hook them up, give them each child a couple of gifts, stocking stuffers, sporting good items, stuffed animals, candy canes, books, on and on, bikes and all that. So each child usually leaves with, anywhere from 4 to 6 gifts each.
What you all are doing, excuse me, is insane. It is so good. I'm so proud of you all. By the way, you'll be getting a check from me on Wednesday for something called a bowling event. I just want you to know it's coming.
Yeah, and I do. And I'll just say this, George. A lot of your viewers know you've been supporting the Last Minute Toy Store. I'm not sure the first year I met you, Rick Region brought you in, introduced you. Well, he didn't introduce you to me. He walked over and kind of put his hand around my neck and said, "Come here, I got somebody I need you to meet." And of course, I already knew you. You just didn't know me. But we talked then, and you were very involved in volunteering. And I remember you looked at me and said, "This is crazy." And I'm like, it really is. Once you come down here, it blows your mind. But you've been doing bowling events and raising money for us for a long time. And I hate to think of how many tens of thousands that you've raised. And we, as a Last Minute Toy Store, as a body of volunteers, 1,000 volunteers, and that's for 10 years or more. That's a lot of people.
Man,
thank you for all that you've done. We thank Billy. We thank even Kelly comes out to our bowling event, and Coach Brown and so many others, and it does mean a lot. And we have to get Kelly a jacket. But
good Lord,
the biggest thing, we were just trying to get you off the members only.
He won't be satisfied. Nothing will make him.
At least you brought George up to 2023. That's awesome. You know what I'm saying?
Puffer jacket. He didn't know what it was.
He had no clue. He's got nothing like that.
I told you this was coming. Dale, I'm proud of you all.
I'm proud of you.
What you all do is incredible. And I want people a week from Friday to watch. There'll be a lot of talking to people like Dale and finding out about this, because once you see it, you're never going to believe it.
You're not. And if you want to come out and see it for yourself, we'd be happy to give you a tour, even if it's on a Saturday or something. I'll get George to help me do it. But we just want you to come out, see what's happening, because I think once you see it, it's really hard to believe that there's that much poverty in our community.
Yes.
And really, this is about the kids. So we provide the gifts to the parents, and then they go home and celebrate Christmas the way that they do it. And it's such a blessing.
You want to stick around for a second now when we get to Daily Titans Update?
No, I better not. I better leave that to the professionals.
Well, Terry McCormick's waiting. Dale, thank you.
God bless, man. Thank you.
Hey, I'm looking forward to it. Terry's Daily Titans Update, and he's got a ton of stuff to talk about today. Brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. She wants to be your mortgage lady, and through the folks at USA Mortgage, that absolutely can happen. Dial her up, 615-969-4350. This is Terry McCormick, Main Street Media. Terry, you got more news than you can shake a stick at. Go.
Oh, my gosh, yeah. Mike Vrabel kind of started it all off in his press conference at noon today when he announced that he had fired Craig Ackerman as special teams coach. He's going to be replaced by Tom Quinn on an interim basis at least. And Quinn is a former special teams coach for the New York Giants. Ackerman obviously couldn't withstand the poor play that the team had yesterday in special teams that led to Ryan Stonehouse suffering an injury that's going to require surgery. He's out for the year, so now they're in the market to try and find a punter as well as try to fix what's broken on special teams.
Well, finding a punter is not an overly difficult thing. There are a dime a dozen out there. So that shouldn't be a particularly difficult thing. Terry, this team has won 4 of their last 19. And yesterday sort of felt like, oh my God, they found a new way to lose. And this does not look good on Vrabel at all.
Well, they just, despite their best efforts, they just couldn't finish it off yesterday, couldn't get it done. And there were so many miscues that came into play, the 2 block punts, the missed extra point, giving up an explosive play in overtime after you'd taken a field goal lead to set up 1st and goal at the 4 for the Colts to allow them to win it. The list just went on and on and on. And there were so many opportunities to win this game, and yet they still found a way to lose it.
Now, they've gotten a slew of people hurt. Kind of run through all of that and begin, I guess, with some halfway positive news on Derrick Henry.
Yeah, it looks like Derrick Henry is not in the concussion protocol, but they're going to continue to monitor him through the week. Should be able to practice, and they're hopeful that he can play Monday night and not miss any time. They'll certainly need him against the Miami Dolphins. And then Jeffrey Simmons going to be out a couple of weeks with a knee injury that he suffered yesterday. And then, of course, Stonehouse out for the year, needing surgery on his leg. And then Christian Fulton re-injured his hamstring, and already thin secondary suffers another blow.
Good Lord. Do you have any good news?
Yes, I'm actually out here at the winter meetings helping out Teresa Walker at AP. The Braves just traded Ronald Acuna to the Yankees for Ben Rortford, straight up.
I don't think that's true. Terry, I was out there earlier today, and here's my proof of it. Danny Evans is involved with a thing called Sports Management Worldwide. Yeah, I know I need to sort of lean over here just a tad. So I'm known as sports broadcaster. Anyway, loosely, he did a great Q&A. Basically, this is a group of about 250 kids that want to get into baseball. Now, I didn't have the heart to tell them, listen, when you get in, you're going to starve. You're going to work hours that are insane. But if this is your dream, have at it.
Unless you can throw or hit a 98-mile-an-hour fastball.
And then you can make millions. And your working hours will be better. You'll have fun out there. Thank you as always. I wish the news were better, but it's not.
All right. Thanks, George.
Terry McCormick, his Daily Titans Update, brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. She wants to be your mortgage lady, and through the folks at USA Mortgage, that absolutely can happen. 615-969-4350. When we get to the Watson Brown Titans analysis, which Kelly obviously will be right in the middle of, you need to be listening, because I'm going to ask some really pointed stuff. Billy.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, George.
How are you?
I'm good.
I have a new jacket.
It looks good. It's like we just shot you from a rocket ship up to the modern age.
From the 70s to 2023.
Is that really necessary? I mean, Kelly,
it is
so disappointing to hear this.
It is necessary, George. You have to get real about that. I mean, I like the jacket. I would actually wear that. That's nice swag.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, this just did. Billy, you certainly are not getting one. And I'll see to that. Although, who knows? No, seriously, this is such a great charity. And Dale came out here. Probably he had heard that Kelly had been ripping my wardrobe and thought, he's got a point. Okay, so where are we going in our positive, upbeat update?
Well, we've got four minutes here, so we got to kind of shorten it.
Okay.
I want to start in the NFL. The 49ers have separated themselves from the pack. They are now the betting favorites to win the Super Bowl after their win in Philly yesterday. They moved to 3-1 to win the Super Bowl. The Niners, Chiefs, and Eagles had been co-favorites. Now the Niners are the favorites, and Brock Purdy is the favorite to win MVP. Just thought I'd throw that out there, but who would have thought Brock Purdy. I don't know if that holds true, but I think that's kind of an interesting note after yesterday's win.
Here's a thought: Falcon fever, catch it.
How'd they do yesterday?
They're your division leader. If the season stopped today, the Atlanta Falcons would host a playoff game against the Dallas Cowboys
in the worst division, maybe the history of the NFL.
And if it were to come to pass, I will be there.
We've also got news out of Pittsburgh. Kenny Pickett had surgery for a high ankle sprain earlier today and has been ruled out for Thursday's game against the Patriots. So Mitch Trubisky back under center for Pittsburgh.
That'll go well.
I'm sure.
Good luck.
Whew.
The bowl game for Tennessee is
that
set.
Game could end up like 2-0.
Well, the Patriots. We'll get to that in our duds.
Yes.
Your duds.
Yes.
Citrus Bowl, Tennessee and Iowa. I'm excited to see the over/under for that one.
Yeah, y'all know what I think about George. You know what I think about when it comes to Citrus Bowl. You know what passes through my mind.
You can't spell citrus without UT.
That's correct.
That was one of the all-time hilarious quotes that Spurrier ever put out there. Spurrier was always trying to needle Philip Fulmer.
Yeah.
What was ironic was I found out that the wives were very close. Meanwhile, Fulmer's taking all these, Spurrier's throwing all these jabs at Fulmer, and one of them was, "You can't spell citrus without UT."
What a line!
I love it.
George,
I would say the over/under for Iowa points in that game would be 2.5. This is a true story. Vegas had the first half of the game Saturday night. You could bet either over or under Iowa to score 0.5 points.
Turns out it should have been the whole game because they didn't score a single touchdown. There was a bar in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, that gave people free golf. It was a golf simulator bar, like an X Golf, like we've got over here. Free golf until Iowa scores. Or no, free beer until Iowa scores.
Oh, my Lord. They're probably bankrupt.
Yeah. Also, Liberty Bowl. Memphis has a home game for the Liberty Bowl. They'll play Iowa State. Auburn.
That might be a really good game. Two really contrasting kind of styles. One that throws it all over the place and the other that's much more ground and pound.
Iowa State kind of survived to get back to bowl eligibility. They had a bad start to their season. So they'll be in Memphis, Auburn, and Maryland in the Music City Bowl.
Yep.
I think Scott Ramsey hinted at a potential Auburn revisit to Nashville.
I think Auburn will bring a lot of folks.
They always do. They've got a huge alumni base in Nashville, so they always travel well. Caleb Williams is not going to play in the Holiday Bowl against Louisville. I don't think that's much of a shock to anyone.
Shocking.
Yeah. Also, transfer portal mania continues. Ohio State quarterback Kyle McCord into the portal. Where will Ohio State go at quarterback? I think that's a big question. Oklahoma quarterback Dylan Gabriel into the portal. Maybe
that one's a head scratcher, isn't it?
Well, Jeff Lebby, his offensive coordinator, is now at Mississippi State, so he might be a Bulldog here in the next couple of weeks. Dylan Gabriel could. Also, Vanderbilt, the transfer numbers continue. London Humphreys, I think, is the biggest loss for them. He's in the portal. Georgia is expected to land him.
To go to Georgia.
Yep. Will Shepard also, no surprise there. He's in the portal. Vandy had 13 players enter so far. They've lost 3 scholarship quarterbacks. It's top 3 receivers and a few defensive leaders. So just getting ravaged by the portal. Also, MLB winter meetings, of course, kicked off in Nashville today, and a lot of the attention around Shohei Ohtani. Apparently the Braves are still in the mix, George. So
come on. Cut the crap. They're not signing Ohtani.
You don't believe it?
No. Hell no.
The Dodgers and the Angels are.
Liberty Media is going to shell out that kind of money on Ohtani? Please.
Well, the Braves did make a signing.
Yeah.
Jared Kelenic, outfielder.
Yeah. With Seattle. I don't get it, but nobody asked me.
Nobody asked you, George.
Alex, if you're out there listening, I'm in town. If you'd like to meet, be more than happy to.
Gosh.
That's all I got.
Okay. We'll go to the break, and then I'll tell you that the next segment is going to be explosive. Stick around. That's all I have to say. Stick around.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
I'm Watson Brown.
I'm Kelly Holcomb.
I'm Billy Derrick.
We're the George Plaster Show. We've been Nashville's best sports talk for the last 30 years. And you know what? We still are.
Catch us live weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time in Nashville on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, the podcast version is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic, name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs. We are back, and let's start off by saying hello to Coach Watson Brown, who joins us by phone from up in the Cookeville area. Watson, how are you?
George, I'm doing great. How's the gang? Everybody okay?
Looks like everybody's good. Kelly is his normal positive self.
Just tell the truth, Coach, and everybody says you're negative. That's the way the life is now.
Hey, Kelly, that's just, you got to live with it, buddy.
Well,
you got to live with it. You get double teamed now, say something. So you're in trouble. When Billy sides with George, you ain't got a chance, bud.
Speak for yourself on this topic we're about to get into, though, George.
Well, okay.
I mean,
the truth is that the Titans have lost 15 of their last 19 regular season games. And the truth is that Mike Vrabel has come in for really very little heat given those numbers. So yesterday, they find a completely new way to lose. I got to admit, in all the years I've watched pro football, I have never seen a team get back-to-back punts blocked. Now, the cynical part of me is sitting there saying, what the hell? You have all this newfangled equipment where you can pull up the first block punt and show your whole special teams group, hey, here's where we screwed up. Then 10 minutes later, they get another one blocked. Watson, to me, that's total incompetence. Now, maybe I'm being unfair, and, obviously Vrabel must have sort of agreed because he fired Ackerman today, but what in the world is going on with them?
I don't know, George. You see them, and they're just an average old team. There's a lot of average teams in the NFL, and I mean these games are close. And when he was winning, these games were close when he was winning, and he was finding a way to win them. And now they seem to find a way to lose them. And yesterday was as good as any because they still make the same mistakes at critical times. There's pass rush issues at critical times. There's bad secondary play with penalties at critical times, or they just get beat real bad. And they've had two major issues last year, George. That was the offensive line and the secondary. And I see the same exact issues still today. So I just don't see improvement, and I do think it's starting to wear on everybody. I'm seeing statements by players and different things, and we've all gotten in the middle of some of that and before in our careers, and losing is just you can't. There's nothing that can make losing feel good. Zero. Nothing. You can pat yourself on the back. You can say we had a bunch of people hurt. You can say, well, if we'd have done this, I love it when defensive people would always say, well, we only gave up 3 big plays. We played them pretty good other than that. Well, we gave up 3 big plays. I mean, you cannot get past losing, and I think that's where they are. They're really struggling right now, and I think I'm seeing players with frustration and losing confidence. And Kelly will tell you this as an NFL player on all levels. When your confidence isn't there, those close games seem to go against you. And when your confidence is there, they seem to go for you. And I can't totally explain it other than that's what it is. It's confidence, and you just not confident enough to finish.
Kelly, you saw a moment ago the second punt block. It was a complete jailbreak. And after having a first punt blocked, and then to watch the punter just damn near get killed, I'm just asking myself, what kind of coaching staff has Vrabel put together? Because there looks like some real incompetence in this.
Yeah, I don't know, George. That DB, I mean, he literally timed that up with the snap. You could tell that the other guy was going over there to cover, but he timed that snap up, and the guy didn't go out. That's a deal right there where you're going to have to make a call, and he hit it on the run, and it's hard to make a call. And I don't know, George. I'm not going to say anything because I know how hard it is to coach. Coach
Right.
knows that too. I mean, it's not easy, but when you're getting paid like that, and when you're in the National Football League, that was the first time that you had 2 punts blocked for, many years in a game, and then they scored on one. So when you get a punt blocked and they score on it, I mean, it's just like a defensive touchdown. I mean, you put those things like Jim Moore used to come in every week, and he, the critical things that help win and lose ball games. And one of the ones that he put up there was if there's a defensive touchdown scored against you, you don't have a big chance, like your percentages of winning go way down. And then if you have 2 touchdowns, you're not good. It's like almost 0% that you win the game. And that right there was, I mean, it was a killer for them. They had two really critical mistakes. That one was one of them. And then obviously with Stonehouse going out, then Ryan Tannehill comes into the game and he's the holder, and Nick Folk he's not really comfortable with him. And the snap was down, he hit it, but the laces were inside. And that's just a lot of thinking on a punter, on a kicker's. Like, kickers are different, man, and they're used to normalcy. And it just seemed, I even think they said it on the broadcast, where the production of the snap, I mean, with him coming in there, it's just not the same. Everything was good, but it's just not the same, and that ended up beating them. So I don't know, George. It was, I don't know if it's incompetence, but it's not very. They didn't look very good yesterday with the preparation on special teams. They really didn't.
Well, here's one thing that was very interesting. Vrabel initially came out with the look, this is on me, but by today, it's not on him. Now, I don't know if he was ordered to fire Ackerman or not. It seems, if you try to connect the dots, it seems like, boy, there was a shift in less than 24 hours to something else. I will say this. I think it's time for Amy Adams Strunk to really look Mike Vrabel over a lot closer and say, what's going on here? 15 of 19 is inexcusable. You got a coaching staff that more and more doesn't look like they know what the hell they're doing. And she's got to ask those questions. Watson, I'll start it with you. Should she be saying to Vrabel at this point, I'm really concerned?
I want to talk a little bit about the special teams again, but I'll say this on your question, and then I'll get back to special teams. If I'm a boss and I'm looking at it, I'm concerned. I can't say I wouldn't be. 15 of 19 and what is it, 7 straight road games or something in a league that's a very equal league, other than maybe 1 or 2 teams every year. And so I would be concerned. I don't know that I would be, as the boss, be in there bringing it up right this minute. I think I address it when the season's over. I just don't like walking in a place I'm not around a lot. If I was an AD and I'm not in the football room with my coach all the time to walk over and do that right now, I don't think I would do that. But I would have a red flag, yes. I don't disagree with you on that at all. And then on the special teams things, the one that bothered me the most was the extra point, because how in the world do you not have your backup holder holding in practice a lot? I mean, that's the part that got me. He's over there trying to show him how to hold a ball after the block. And that told me he's not working with him in practice at all. And Lord knows your punter could get hurt. Any player can get hurt. You've got to have a backup everywhere. And that one got me. I said, my gracious, he's over there working with the backup holder and teaching him how to hold. The backup holder could have been anybody. I mean, it could have been a special teams guy himself or whatever. But if it's your backup, if it's one of your quarterbacks, he's got to do that in practice. The blocks, I give the Colts a lot of credit on the blocks. The first block came on our right side, their left side, and it happened between the guard tackle wing right there. And it just completely let a guy go free. I mean, untouched. He was free. Well, the next one, they knew they were over there working on that. They brought it from the same exact side, but they brought the outside guy. Now, what do you think all those Titans guys say? Hey, we better get ready. They're going to bring that same block back in here in the middle again, or on the middle right. And they brought the outside guy, timed it up perfect. So I give the Colts as much credit on that as not giving the Titans credit. But I did throw up a red flag on the holder thing. And honestly, that cost them the game.
Kelly, I know I'm not being very positive, but you know as well as I do, the Colts were on that sideline laughing when it was over.
I don't know, but it's interesting that Coach said that, because I was a backup holder, and I always had to go over there and hold for Mike Vanderjagt when I was in Indianapolis, and it used to wear me out too. And then when I was in Cleveland, I went over and held for Phil Dawson, but like Mike Vanderjagt would be like this, and this, and Coach knows how kickers are. I'm like, we as quarterbacks are like, dude, will you just kick the ball, man? Just kick it. I'm gonna get it down. Just kick the daggum ball. But he's absolutely right. Like I don't, I've never experienced anything like that. You have to have your backup. Now the kickers always stay together, George. Coach knows this, but like, while we're doing like 7-on-7 or we're doing inside or we're doing teams, they're down there working on stuff. They do it constantly. Like the long snapper, the punter, and the kicker are always together. Some of the things that they're doing are stupid, but like they're always holding. But when you come to a period where we're working on extra points or we're working on field goals, then I was the special teams coach always had me down there and like the starter, like Chris Gardocki, he was the punter, but he was the holder. He was a really good holder. He got to the point where he could feel that ball. He didn't even have to look at it. He knew where the laces were and he could spin it. But he would always take the majority of the reps, but I would always get at least one or two. So I was always comfortable with it. But for somebody, and I didn't really pay attention like Coach did, but I do remember seeing on the sideline that Ryan Tannehill was over there, with Nick Folk, but I didn't know they were working on that stuff. I was coming back from Troy and I saw the end of the game, but you always have to work on situations like that. I mean, that's what football is. It's situational football, and you always have to like bring guys out. Like if there's a guard that's out, you always have to start pulling your depth chart out, and you always have to say, well, this guy's hurt, this guy's hurt. Well, Holcomb, you got to go in and hold. I mean, you always work on situations like that, and that's when you're not prepared like that. And I don't know, I'm not in the meeting, but it certainly seemed that way, and Coach kind of brought that up.
Watson, let me go to the offense because in the first quarter and a half, I was really encouraged and was like, okay, this is more like what we want to see. Looked like they had a rhythm going. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, it was like the Berlin Wall dropped and suddenly they were getting nothing done in the third quarter. Talk to me about what you saw and what you think caused the variations in their play.
Well, I've got a couple of things, and then the third one I'll throw in late. But to me, the Titans struggle when they get out of the chains. If they get behind the chains, they're in trouble. They struggle. And as long as they can run for 5, hit a play action pass, hit a little naked out in the flat, run a screen, they can go down the field and they look pretty doing it. Kelly knows this. It's hard to go 80 yards without big plays. And the Titans don't get big plays unless they run some form of a trick. They cannot call a play action pass and beat you with a deep post or a takeoff or a post corner or a deep crossing. They just can't do it. They don't have anybody to outrun anybody. And usually when you're calling those plays, you've got some form of man free or 3 deep zone, and it becomes a foot race. And they can't get a big play without a trick play. So it's hard for them, George. That's why if they go down and they stay within the chains all the way down the field, they look nice. But the minute they get a holding call, the minute they got 2nd and 12, they start struggling. And I think it is hard to go down the field 80 yards 80 times in a row. You can't do that. In college football, you can't do it in the NFL. You've got to hit some big plays. We have no playmakers that can hit those big plays. Hopkins can't even do that. He can run the deep outs. He can go up and try to take a ball away from a guy, but he can't outrun him. And so we don't have that piece, and I think that hurts. The other thing I saw offensively, for some reason, they're running the wide zone, which used to be our bread and butter, and they're running a ton of it in the first half. And Derek looks like the old Derek. Well, they quit running it. For some reason, they left the play, and then they go back to it in the middle of – they didn't get the ball to about 5 minutes in the third quarter because there was a long drive by the Colts that kept the ball forever. But when they got it, they started doing that again. And I don't know. I defend the play caller because I just don't think he knows that it's hard for them to make up yards to the point where they don't even try. There's a lot of 3rd and longs where they're going to run a screen or a draw or a wide receiver screen or a back screen or something. They will not drop back and try to throw the ball because I don't think, George, they think they can get it off. So when you're limited like that as a play caller, I'm telling you, that's hard. that is really hard to handle.
Kelly, chime in. I'm going to go to the break after that. Watson, any chance you'd stay with us for one shorter segment afterwards?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Kelly, the floor is yours.
Well, George, this is what I'm going to say. This is why they go to the combine, and this is why they measure all them guys with their 40-yard dash. You've got to have speed wins games. And I'm like, Watson, man, I have called plays, and I hadn't called plays like he did in college and stuff like that, but I've called plays in high school, and everybody wants to get on the offensive coordinator. But we've said it all year, George. They have nobody that scares you. Like, there's nobody on their team that scares you. Like, if you allow Derrick Henry to get going, okay. But, like, they're going to put an extra guy in the box for Derrick Henry. They're going to man you up outside. And then where do you go? There's nobody getting any separation. It's a tough gig. And when you got that, I've had that. We had a year when I was at Riverdale, and we had nobody that could run. And that's what the big play. You got to have the Tariq Hills. You've got to have the Deebo Samuels, where they can take like a little screen like he did yesterday, get some good blocking, but he can do it himself. And every time that you have to snap the ball again, that was the old Monty Kiffin when he was at Tampa Bay. He played a 4-3 cover 2, and everybody started calling it Tampa 2 because he would run the linebacker back. And if you cannot make a big play, his whole deal was you cannot go 15, 16 play drive without making a mistake. And they won a championship like that. They won a Super Bowl. That's why you have to have guys on your team that can run, and you don't have to snap the ball again. They can catch it, they can break tackles, and they can go 80. But there's nobody on the Tennessee Titans offense that can do that. Even when they first started the game, they had that trick play and they got it to the tight end. He's not going to outrun anybody. I mean, he's not like a George Kittle type guy. They got the other trick play to Westbrook Akine. He's not going to outrun anybody. I don't know. It's tough, and it really bothers me. And I understand fans pay their tickets and they got the opportunity to complain. That's their prerogative. But like when you calling plays is hard, especially when you have no playmakers.
We'll go to the break. We'll talk a little bit about what all this is doing to their defense, which we all started the season very encouraged about. But as things have gone along, not so much so. Stay tuned.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458, or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Normally, we do Watson Brown's Titans analysis for one segment. However, I've had a little diarrhea of the mouth, and so we may be expanding it today a tad. I'm going to ask both of you this question, starting with Watson. I don't feel like defensively that they are as good as they were at the start of the season. Is it simply that because their offense has so many 3 and outs, they're having to play too many plays, or is there more to it than that?
I think there's more to it than that. I think that always your offense, philosophically, offensively, has a lot to do with your defense. If you're going to go fast pace and blah, 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 your defense is going to play more plays. Even if you're successful, they're going to play more plays. So they're having to play a lot of plays because they're not moving the ball very well. So I get that. But I don't think this team's as good even as it was maybe last year. They have no playmakers on defense. When your defensive tackle is your playmaker, and that's the only one you could label a playmaker. And when they traded Barrett away, I think that hurt. That really hurt in the secondary. But they got no playmakers on defense. It's a bunch of good, solid players, but not guys that reach up and make a play to stop a drive.
And the only guy they had, Big Jeff Watson, is now hurt.
Yes, I know. Now he's hurt. And as soon as he went out, you could tell a difference.
Yeah.
When he went out the other day, you could tell a difference, especially short yardage stuff like that. But George, I don't think they're that good on defense. I think the secondary is probably – with starters in there, is probably one of the weaker ones in the league. I don't think they've got a good secondary play. They're very undisciplined in the secondary. They have their 2, 3, 4 pass interferences a game, and or they give up a huge big play somewhere along. In every single game, they do that, and I just don't think they're that good over there. Linebackers are very average. Number 2 is a solid player. Givens, to me, is not a caliber NFL guy. I think he's a very average player. The defensive line has been very average this year when that wasn't the case last year. And I don't think Landry has come back near what he was. Still isn't. Seems to get a little bit better, but he's not what we used to watch play 2 years ago, man. He was a fantastic player. And the guy they got from the Colts, the inside guy, help me with names. You know me. that plays outside on early downs and inside on later downs. The big tall guy, Autry. I think he's starting to age a little bit, and I don't think he's playing as good as he did last year. He still plays really hard, man. He goes after it. I don't think we're loaded with playmakers on that side of the ball either, George. I think we've got a playmaker issue with the Titans this year.
Kelly, go.
Well, I just know, and Watson just said everything. I mean, there's nothing else I can add. I just know this: being in a locker room when you're not playing well and offensively is where it starts, and you can't score any points. You have no playmakers. I've said this before. It wears on the defense, and I knew yesterday. They couldn't get when they you're right, when Jeffrey Simmons goes out of the game and they can't get pressure. If they can't get pressure, their secondary is even worse than if they do get pressure. So it's just right now the Titans they're just not very good, George. I don't know where else to add. I mean, coach is talking. He's doing a great job with everything. If you cannot you can live with a secondary that's okay, but you got to have guys up front that are dudes. And when your dude is the best player and he's a defensive tackle, I'm not sure. You just and then he goes out, then they get no pressure. They have no shot in the secondary to defend plays. They don't because they can't. You've got to be able to put pressure and make the quarterback think. You got to hit him a little bit. Maybe you're not sacking him, but you got to hit him some and you got to get him to thinking. But they got Minshew'd yesterday. They're at the end of the game, and that's it's just disheartening. But they're just not good, George. I don't know where you go from there.
Okay, so this was something Terry McCormick threw out a good while ago, because Terry's out there every day, and the storm clouds, he was starting to feel them. That look, they suck. And he was saying it very early on. But what he was really starting to get at was it's time for them to almost publicly come out and say, look, we know we've got big problems. Our goal is to get this thing revved up in the next 2 or 3 years. Be patient with us. When we get in the new stadium, we're going to kick butt. Watson, is that what they need to do?
Well, everybody's waiting for him to say that, but that's not Mike's way. He's a Belichick guy, so and you can be a Belichick guy when you're winning, but you can't just keep saying over and over, well, we got to get better at this and we'll correct that. And there's a point where you're going to have to speak up to where the situation is and where it's going. And I think the fans are the point where they need some positiveness and where are we headed. But I do not think that will happen with Mike Vrabel. I like the way he does that. I think he protects everybody. I mean, he protected the special teams guy yesterday after the game. And you're right, George. What made him change? It may have been he got back and watched the films and said, okay, we can't go any further with this, because he probably hadn't seen it as the head coach yet. Right after the game, or he got somebody from up top says, man, you got to do something with this. So we don't know the answer to that. But just knowing Mike Vrabel, I do not think you're going to hear anything about you can't trade. That's out now. That's the deadline. So I think you'll see him say, we're going to keep getting better. We're going to try our best. I read his comments about the one coming up. And he said, we need to go win this game. We're in national television, and we got a great opportunity here to beat one of the best teams in the league. He's being Mike Vrabel, which I do respect in that way, because he does protect everybody.
So, Kelly, it seems to me, and maybe it's my fault for not saying it more, it's not going to be Vrabel to say it. But doesn't Rand Carthon have to come out of the witness protection program, where apparently he's been hiding for the last few months? Nobody ever sees him, to sort of give a state of the union of the franchise and say, look, it's not going to get fixed in one draft. There are way too many problems. Doesn't somebody have to come out and just say, we suck, we know we suck, here are the things we're going to do to get ourselves back on track?
I'm like, Coach, he's not going to say that. I just, when have you ever heard a GM come out and say that though in the rig? I mean, I don't, you don't like, I just don't know if that ever happens. I remember.
Yeah, but here's the difference, Kelly. They're going to try to get people soon to buy PSLs in a new stadium. With this bunch, I wouldn't give them $1 for it. I mean, there's a new sales job that's going to have to be done.
I'm in agreement with you, but like, when have you ever heard a GM? Like, I remember when we were so bad in Cleveland, and you never heard from the GM. So, I don't know if that's ever going to happen, George. And Vrabel is like a Belichick guy. I mean, he's that guy. I think people love honesty. I really do, but it's just not the way the game's played. They're not going to come out and tell you what they're going to do. They're just not. And then you just got to wait for the draft and see. You got to figure it out yourself. What are we going to do in the draft? What do we need in the draft? You start hearing things up until the draft. But that's kind of when you figure out, hey, this is where they're going. This is what they're doing. They're not going to come out and tell you that. They're just not.
Okay, guys, obviously this one really hurt because it was a gettable win against a football team that's starting to make some progress. Indy very quietly is 7-5, and they, along with Houston, are right in that playoff hunt. Watson, as always, thank you.
Well, and George, I'll finish with this, which tells you how where we are and how bad it is. We're 3 games from third place. Do you realize that?
Good Lord.
We are 3 games in the division from third place. We're 4-8, and the third place team is 7-5.
And look how good the Texans look all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And then the Jags are 8-3, and if they win tonight, they nearly run away with it. They'll be 3 games up with 5 to go, 4 to go.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, we're so far away. We're 3 games from third place. It's hard to believe.
Watson, thank you. We'll do it again soon.
Thanks, guys. See y'all.
After the break, we'll get stat of the day, and then we'll get into the college football mess. The committee would absolutely like to strangle Georgia because they made that committee's life about a 24-hour living hell. Stay tuned.
Convenience and value, 2 words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
All right, I'm here with my buddy Chip Ward from Lincoln Home Loans. And Chip, it's football season, and it feels like it's moving season every time of the year, especially here in Nashville. Tell us about your business, Chip, and kind of introduce people to who you are and what you do here in the Nashville area.
Well, you're exactly right, Billy. It is definitely moving season, as it is most times, especially right here after Labor Day. Kids are back in school, and people are starting to think they want to get settled in before the holidays. And so what we are doing is right now we are getting a lot of people pre-approved for home loans. Inventory has ticked up a little bit. It has been down, but it's rebounding a little bit. And right now is a good time to buy.
Chip, real quick before I let you go, tell people how they can reach you. And if someone is interested in your business, how would they reach out to you?
Well, sure. At Lincoln Home Loans, you can reach me at 615-500-7579. My URL for my application page is chipward.net, and my email address is simply chip@chipward.net. And so I'd love to hear from anybody. I can answer any questions about the whole home buying and financing process.
Top of the hour on a Monday.
This is a Monday.
God, I got my days mixed up. Reaction Monday.
Did you think it was Friday?
I did. We didn't have one Friday. But it's time for Stat of the Day, brought to you by John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville. They're open during the week, Tuesday through Friday from noon to 5, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5. Give them a call, 931-492-4304. Here we go. I think we're going with college today. Blake Corum recorded his 23rd and 24th rushing touchdowns on the season during the Big Ten title game. Who was the last Big Ten running back to have 23 or more rushing touchdowns in a single season?
Kelly, could it be Eddie George?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Kelly.
That's where I was going, Eddie George. That's the first name that popped in my head.
Who would be the second one? The second one I thought of was Maurice Claret.
That's a good one. I didn't think of him. I wouldn't know. I just, the first name that popped in my head, being down here, just using some logic, I thought it would be Eddie George.
Y'all are showing your age. Let's go a little bit more recent.
Oh, wow.
I don't like your attitude.
Well, I mean, come on. Within the last 10 years.
The question didn't say that.
I forget the kid's name that is from Michigan that was with the Titans. What's his name?
Oh, Haskins. No, not him.
No, I think it's a Wisconsin running back. Pull it up. Let's see.
Incorrect. Zeke Elliott.
Zeke Elliott. Wow.
Feed Zeke.
Feed me.
Feed him.
Feed me.
That was the year they beat Alabama.
Feed him.
Let's get
correct.
Fed. Okay, shall we now get into the positivity of the intercollegiate athletic experience?
Is there any positivity in that?
What a mess.
I mean, does the committee have to have bodyguards to come out of there?
Would you agree that once Georgia lost, the committee, there was no way they could look good?
Well, when Georgia lost, they were praying. They were in there praying with their Bibles that Louisville was going to beat Florida State.
Yep.
There's no question.
But after that, though, they said, okay, this doesn't matter. Florida State, last couple of games has looked bad. Alabama just beat the number one team.
George hit the nail on that. George, you hit the nail on the head with that like weeks ago. You said, hey, once Jordan Travis got out, dude, he was like, the committee is going to screw them.
Immediately.
And you were absolutely right, man. I don't know how you feel if you're a defensive guy on that team, and Louisville is obviously not very good. But, like, those guys got down there several times and had an opportunity to win the game, and Florida State's defense said, we'll win the game by ourselves.
Could you imagine the committee decided to say, you know what, Florida State, you deserve to be in?
Well,
Could you imagine the outrage out of the southeast region of the country?
Well, hold on a second. Let's take it the other way. So I'm guessing Florida State had all their kids in a room. It was around lunchtime. As they find out they're not getting in, I can see straight out of Animal House, food fight. Screw the committee. Hamburger, boom. I mean,
one of the great movies ever.
Probably having some brunch waffles flying around.
I mean, I feel. Well, hold on. Well, you know what? I don't have my phone in front of me. Somebody asked me yesterday morning about 8:00, who are your four? And I said, Michigan 1, Washington 2, Texas 3, Alabama 4. And then I said, I don't feel good about this at all. Florida State's getting screwed, but it was the easiest route for the committee to take, Kelly, because none of us believe they're in the top 4 right now.
No, they really don't. Really don't. Now, let me ask you this. I was thinking, because to me, and I'm not sold on the quarterback at Ohio State. Obviously, he's in the transfer portal for a reason. But if it's me, really the top 4 teams to me, I'm thinking are Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan.
I was going to say that. And people saying it's the 4 best teams. If you took the 4 best teams, that would be the top 2 teams from the power conferences, Big Ten and the SEC. So that's where the mix-up is. This isn't really the 4 best teams. This is pretty close to a beauty contest.
Well,
if you really think about
this. I think Texas can hang with a bunch of them.
I do too. I think Texas. I don't know about Washington. I don't think.
Should the real debate have been between Texas and Georgia at least, because Washington is, let's face it, is probably gonna lose to Texas. That's why you play the games for a reason. But
okay, but let me play devil's advocate, because I was as wrong as anybody. I thought Oregon would kick the crap out of Washington.
I did too, man. I really did too. But man, that was hey, underdog, baby.
Oh no.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Kelly.
Oh God.
I told you who to take.
I know, but I could have screwed it up, but I didn't.
No, if you'd have screwed it up, you'd have definitely gotten hit in the throat.
But in the end, what you had was a year where you had too many teams that stayed unbeaten too long.
Yeah.
Because you've only got the ability at 4. That's all we're allowing in this pathetic system. You know what's amazing to me was all these people. 4's a fine number. It'll do great. Really?
Well, they don't like it.
And anybody saying, I heard a lot kind of before the weekend started and during, even Friday night, a lot of people saying, you're going to miss this, college football fans. You're going to miss having this debate of the 4 teams. No, most college football fans are not. The 12-team playoff is better for everybody.
We never know.
Yeah, but they're still going to have problems with it. I'm like Urban Meyer. He said it on the show the other day before the game. You're still going to have problems with the 12 because the 13th team is going to be pissed off too. So, I mean, there's still going to be problems. Me personally, I don't know why the NCAA basketball tournament is unbelievable. You've got all these teams. Why don't I know the bowl games are big money. I understand that, but like, why can't you have like a big playoff like that? I know you're going to have a 12 team, but why can't you? Let's do even more. I mean, then you'll find the true national champion, in my opinion.
Well, now, how long would that take, Kelly? It's different.
I mean,
think about it.
I know
it's
where you
different in basketball.
But Kelly's got a point. This probably within the next 10 years, this will be a 16-team tournament, probably.
Well, I don't
agree.
doubt that.
I know there's a lot of stuff. I get it. I mean, you're going to have to be really deliberate in who you choose. I totally understand because but here's the deal. I mean, they're already like the amateur status is getting taken off these kids with the NIL and all that crap. So they're really no more amateur football. I mean, it's professional football on the college level.
Yeah. What that does, though, Kelly, is, and I know this has already kind of happened. These bowl games are going to be destroyed. I mean, that if you go to eventually 16, and what's the FCS at? Are they at 16?
Yeah.
Okay,
but it seems to me that what you do is you help some of these bowls by giving them one of these games.
One of these, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
and that's what they'll be doing in the 12.
I mean that's what they have to do.
Yeah.
Eventually. Now, a lot of these bowls, about 15 of the early bowls, are there for one reason. They're ESPN programming.
Yeah.
True?
Yeah.
True.
I mean,
and they're for the Group of 5 schools right now. Really,
the next time you see a sellout at the Bahamas Bowl will be the first time. Thank you for the water, by the way. I mean, some of these bowls don't draw flies.
No.
Now, that's not to say they aren't positive experiences, but anyway, let's get to the stuff here.
The Alabama.
Kelly, I'm going to claim that this is the best coaching job Saban has ever done, and it's by a considerable margin.
I agree with you, George. I got a buddy that's a huge Alabama fan, and he said if we get by this Auburn team, we'll beat Georgia. He's called it. He called it like 3 weeks ago. He said we'll beat Georgia, and then we'll win the national championship. Well, that obviously they've got the first phase. They beat Georgia, and and Georgia they're 4-0 against Georgia in the SEC championship game. So he's already got that predicted right, and then now they got to do it. I'm with you, George. Like. It looked so bad against South Florida that game. Now I know it was pouring down rain. I get it, and they were not settled at the quarterback position. But he has done a tremendous job of just going back to work. Tommy Rees has figured out what Jalen Milroe can do. They've let him be a player. He's not a true typical drop back passer. Can throw the ball. Got some skill, but the guy looks like a running back. He looks, he's not Derrick Henry size, but he's close, man. He's a big dude. And they've just let him just go play football. And they figured it out. And I can't – I've been down there to practice several times, George, to watch them practice. And their practice is so organized. It's unbelievable. But, like, what he's done this year from where they started and all the naysayers that we're talking about, they'll be lucky to win 8 games. And I was one of them. And this dude has gone 12-1 with this football team. It's amazing. Amazing.
I definitely thought they would lose 1 or 2 more. And in fact, I said it when the whole Texas loss and then South Florida that looked so bad, I was certain they'd lose another game or 2. I mean, this man can coach, period.
Can coach. And the guy that we had on, and I forget who he is, the guy from the SEC, but remember early in the year when he was talking – when he was talking about how this was his worst coaching staff that he had, he's 12-1, unbelievable.
Yeah. And last year, Nick Saban was critiqued highly for his maybe poor coaching, right? Kind of, he's lost a step, right? And I think he kind of laughed it off. I think he woke up a little bit, and he heard that. And I want to get Mac Hereford on to see.
Oh my God!
See his reaction, but
Mac's in the cloud somewhere. We're going to have to get him down off of the cloud.
But no, I mean, Kelly, you said it. They are 4-0 against Georgia in Atlanta, and Georgia they had the crowd. I think it was 60-40, probably Georgia fans. But Alabama, they used that to their motivation, and how much the players wanted it after the game. They're talking to the student section. It was kind of mind-blowing to see they did it again. Alabama just did it again.
So let's go now to something that happened Friday night, because I'll admit I was stunned. And what I came away with in Washington's win over Oregon is that Oregon has been masking the fact that they can't run the ball for squat with all these little wide receiver screens and all this stuff that you use to mask that issue. And Kelly against Washington didn't look like they could mask it.
No, and I jumped on the boat with you, George. I thought that Oregon would beat them handily, and they were what were they, a 9.5 point?
9.5.
Yeah, they were 9.5 point favorite in that game. So obviously the people in Vegas thought so too. The way that Bo Nix has been playing all year, he finally threw a pick in that game. But it just goes to show you how mentally tough a team that Washington team is. Now, I don't know if they can beat Texas, but I mean that's why they play the game. I mean, Michael Penix in the first game when they played Oregon, Michael Penix had to make a play in the end of the game. He threw a go route to a kid, back shouldered him, made the play. The other night, I get so angry at defensive coordinators because obviously that was my underdog pick. But I get so angry. I've told y'all this. Like when you start rushing three, Bo Nix took it down the field and he scored immediately because he can run around. He can do that stuff.
Right.
And then Washington gets to a 3rd and 7. And Michael Penix had to make a throw to get a first down to finish that game because if they don't, Oregon had a little bit of momentum. And he makes that play. So that dude's pretty mentally tough. Those guys are rallying behind him. I don't know. We'll have to see in the college playoffs, but they're pretty good. They're better than I thought they were. And I still don't know if they're in the top 4 teams, but they're undefeated. And they're Pac-12 or Pac-2 now as we talk. But it's going to be interesting to see these games, these 3 games that are coming up. They're going to be interesting to see.
So, Billy, put up that graphic again. Before any of us were ever born, there was a civil war in the United States between North and South. And the issue, and I wasn't around, was slavery. We've heard, Abraham Lincoln making speeches and all that stuff. This Alabama-Michigan thing feels like a little bit of a civil war, that the North wants to tell the South, we're tired of hearing how good you are. We think we've got a team that's good enough to shut you up. And Kelly, I'm not sure they are. I'm not sure, but that Alabama isn't headed to the finals again.
The way they're playing, they've got a lot of confidence. They don't ever go far from being a confident football team, George. I still can't believe that they're 12-1 and everybody wrote them off dead. And
yeah,
they're the first team that's ever come out of, what is it, the 6th seed, Billy, to go to the playoffs, and they were 8th.
Yep.
They were ranked 8th.
Yep. Yeah,
I think they were ranked 8th, and they jump up. That's
basically switch spots with Georgia in a way.
Yeah,
basically.
Basically,
I mean, but there's something got to be said for that, though. That I remember I watched Jalen Milroe's press conference the other day, and people were asking him, and he's like, "We just beat the number 1 team in the country that's been there all year. They missed 1 week where I think they put Ohio State before them, and then the next week they had a huge win against somebody. They put Georgia back there, so Georgia's been there the whole year, and Alabama just beat them. And a month or 2 months ago, we had Alabama dying, going to the grave. Everybody thought they were done. Everybody thought that, Nick Saban was not going to be good enough to bring these guys out of the doldrums, and he's got them in the playoffs again. And I don't know if Michigan can hang with them again.
It feels like almost every year, Kelly, in the playoff, we see one side. We look at one of these matchups and we go, "That's the national title right there." Whoever wins that game is going to demolish the other team in the title. I think this might be another situation. Michigan and Alabama, I think, have a leg up on Washington and Texas talent-wise. I know Texas beat Alabama earlier. Alabama, I think, is a different team. Milroe's a different player. But I think whoever wins Michigan-Alabama is your national title, or your national champ.
A couple of things are going to happen. This year, these games are on January 1, which is a huge ratings boost compared to the stupidity of playing them on December 31st.
Mm-hmm.
The Rose Bowl will be the early game.
It has to be because it's out there.
Yeah, 4 p.m., although it doesn't have to be. There is no reason you couldn't do it the other way. But this is going to garner big old ratings.
Whew.
I mean, almost as many as watch the show.
Well, George, I'll say this too. Michigan is lucky they're not playing Alabama in New Orleans.
Oh, my God. I thought about that.
I mean, could you imagine?
Can you say home field advantage?
Yeah.
Where here, both of them are 18 million miles from Pasadena.
I think Washington got screwed having to play because Texas is going to travel to New Orleans too.
Sure they are. So Kelly, the one other matchup I would like to have seen was Georgia versus Ohio State. If Bama, Michigan is the best the two leagues have to offer, the second best are clearly Georgia and Ohio State. I would like to have seen that happen.
I would have liked to have seen it happen too. They had that monstrous game last year with C.J. Stroud, and then Stetson Bennett was able to come back at the end of the game and win that game. But I personally think those are the best four teams in the country now. There's a huge argument for Texas. I just don't know enough about Washington. We don't see them enough. They were on the TV a bunch this year. You just don't know enough about Washington, but I really did. I thought Oregon. So if Oregon, George, if Oregon would have beaten Washington, they in the 4, you think?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Now,
so you think they would have been second, like Washington second right now?
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Here's one nobody's brought up, but I believe this. Part of the reason that FSU did not get in was the fear of a national title game like we had a year ago where TCU got demolished.
Yeah.
TCU getting demolished scared the crap out of the committee. They didn't want any of that happening.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Think about that.
That's a good point.
Is there truth to that?
That's a good point. There is a good point, because if they got in, if FSU got in and they were fortunate enough to beat in the semifinals, beat that team, you could be right. I mean, because they're offensively, man, losing two quarterbacks and having to play their third guy. They just could not move the ball. I felt bad for the kid the other night. I mean, he was just over his head. He just did not look comfortable at all. He's afraid. I think he's from Tennessee, is he not, Billy?
Yeah, he went to Lausanne.
Yeah, absolutely. So he just looked like he was out of place in that. The stage was
Billy,
a little bit too big for him, and that's understandable.
Okay, there we are. Okay, let's talk a couple of more college issues. Kelly, are you hearing what I'm hearing, that Middle may hire off of Josh Heupel's staff?
I am hearing that. Yes, I've thrown a name in there as well. I've talked to Massaro a couple of times. Middle's a different place. We all know that. When you get to schools like that, Vanderbilt's a different place. But I told Chris. I mean, I really feel as though I hope they go the direction of a former Middle guy, and the guy that I've recommended is really good. I think he can get it turned around. The thing that scares me, George, is if you bring somebody in from a Heupel staff or somebody like that, they're just using that as a stepping stone. I think if you bring a Middle guy in, and the guy that I'm talking about, I'm not going to give you his name, but the guy I'm talking about is not there for a stepping stone. He's there to get his alma mater back up to relevance. And, if you win, you're going to have to field calls. I get that. And sometimes you have to better yourself. But he's not going in looking for that. I think if you bring other people in that doesn't know the situation, that doesn't know how hard it is, it's kind of like a Vanderbilt situation. If you don't understand that situation about getting the thing going, it's hard for somebody that comes into that and is just kind of blind to that. Now, you think you may know, but you really don't know. So I think that I just hope they get somebody from Middle, a former Middle guy. There's a bunch out there that have coached, that are capable of the job, that will bring Middle guys back. I already heard that there's Middle guys that are assistant coaches that want to come back to get it going. That's just the thing that scares me. I'm scared that they're going to hire somebody from one of these big schools. It's a name, and he's just going to use it for a stepping stone. And then if he does get that, he's gone. And I just don't think that – I know the guy that I'm talking about, and I don't think Middle guys would want to do that. I mean, you can make there's a lot to be said about being in a community like this, getting the community back involved, making some pretty good money, and you don't have all the pressure of going to an SEC school. Now, It depends on your goal. Do you want to go to a big place, or do you want to make $1.2 or $1.5 million here in Murfreesboro and live a happy life with your family and win games. So there's a lot that goes into it.
Okay, now let's talk my alma mater. It was never going to be an easy job. I am starting to believe, based on what I see out of the transfer portal, I think a bunch of their kids are saying, this is miserable. I don't want this for 4 years. And so a lot of the good ones are bolting. Number one, I don't think that looks particularly good for Clark Lee. I wonder if he has lost that locker room. But even if he hasn't, the playing field, which was never on even ground, you bring Texas and OU in. You got all these schools that apparently have got these well-oiled NIL machines, and you've got Vandy. How in the world are they going to close the gap? I no longer really believe it's going to happen.
NIL. That's how they're going to have to do it, George, because
but they're losing the NIL battle.
Well, we're going to find that out, I think. I can't really confirm anything. I've heard good things that this year is going to be a little bit different with their NIL, but of course we've heard that before at several schools, right? I mean, with Vanderbilt right now and their fan base, they're waiting and seeing, right? They're gonna see it before they believe anything, right?
Well, they've lost all 3 quarterbacks, so what are they going to do? Have Kelly at spring practice?
Yeah, Kelly.
I can still do it, George. I just don't want to get hit.
So at spring practice, we're going to put a skirt on you.
Absolutely. A red shirt, pink shirt, yellow shirt. It doesn't matter. Just don't hit me. I can get you up and running, and I can actually win some games. I promise you
That's
that.
fair enough. I see that as a solution. I feel much better.
But here's my deal about that NIL deal. You're in the biggest – you've got the biggest market in the SEC. I mean, you've got all these companies around here, and I know you got Tennessee Titans in town, but you can't tell me that a lot of these Vanderbilt folks, George, your friends or whatever, that have money, like they want to see their alma mater too. I mean, do well, but like certainly you would think that with the big city that you've got, that you could get some NIL money for these kids and like lure some kids in with that. Now, I know that. This is the Stanford of the East. I mean, I get that. Like the things that you have to do in the classroom at Vanderbilt are totally different from all these schools in the SEC.
Whatever. I went there. What does that tell you?
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying that's what.
What do you think it tells
that
you?
From everybody. I don't know. I'm just. I know that when I went down there one time, Chris Doring, he was doing a game and he told me, man, he's like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen, because he's like, you go to all these other SEC schools and they've got all these they got all these kids, but you cannot, like, it costs so much money for Vanderbilt to have walk-ons that they have to treat that like an NFL practice. Like they have to, they have to give each other, like, offensive guys have to give the defensive guys looks, and the defensive guys in turn have to give the offensive guys looks. So that's what I used to have to do when I was playing in the NFL. We have to get each other looks. And most of it, like when I go down there to Alabama, they've got the offense over here and the defense over here, and then you've got scout teams that have to, that can run against them. Well, Chris was like, they don't do that at Vanderbilt because they don't have that many guys. So that's one of the problems that you have. So there's just so many things that you have to do differently at Vanderbilt. That's just it's kind of unheard of at other places.
I think you're getting, again, a level of apathy that is really getting dangerous. First of all, I think whatever the fan base number is, I think it's about 6,000. It's the smallest that in my memory. Number one, I think they believed that the football program this year would be considerably better.
Yeah.
It was a dumpster fire.
Bad
coaching, bad everything. There's nothing positive about giving up 39.5 points in every SEC game you play. I mean, they were completely non-competitive. Dumpster fire. Well, I got news for you. So's their basketball. Their basketball right now is a joke. And it's the sport that has a better shot to win. But I was there Wednesday night. Boston College, is a bottom third of the ACC kind of team that beat Vandy by 20. And I walked out of there going, other than baseball, what does a Vanderbilt fan have to be excited about?
Yeah, it's a good question, George. And a few weeks ago, somebody told me this. I think y'all will like this. He had seen Vanderbilt's athletic director after a game in the elevator. And, she was kind of talking to people in the elevator in a real, hey, thanks for coming to the game after the Auburn loss. And real nice to everybody. And heck, maybe even some Auburn fans that were up there in the elevator. But it's that type of attitude. I mean, you just lost an SEC game. There should be he had said that Candace should have been taking the stairs, not away from everybody, kind of trying to avoid some of that. And there's so many other examples within that program and that whole department right now that it almost feels like winning is secondary right now. They get the check, they get everybody's fans over, and they get the money. They get the money, but it's from every other SEC school. So that has to change. I don't know how it does, whether that warrants a change at a certain position. I don't know, but that's what has to change. The culture overall, not just within the football program, but from top down in that department.
You're in the throes of, first of all, a football season that was dreadful. Nothing positive came out of that. The truth of it is, I hear all this stuff about how great a coach Jerry Stackhouse is. I'm not buying it. I think he's a decent coach. I think he's a lazy recruiter. I think the talent that they have in his fifth year is really pretty shaky. And I don't see this team doing a lot of winning. And I feel sorry for a group out there that still really cares, because there's nothing to get excited about.
No.
George, let me ask you guys this, since y'all are Vanderbilt guys. Like, when they hired Jerry Stackhouse, and with Jerry Stackhouse being who he is, do you think that just with his name and where he's from, played in the NBA, do you think that he thought players would just come to him?
I don't know, because he has told some people that he doesn't really enjoy recruiting.
Well, that's sort of part of the job.
That's the lifeline. That's the lifeblood of college sports.
Right. And that begs the question, then why did you get into this?
Well, and he came from the G League. He was hired by Malcolm Turner, who was the AD for 4 months. I don't even know how long. I don't even think it was a year. And Turner got let go, but, they let Stackhouse stay. And it's been mediocre basketball production for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed. So, and it starts with recruiting. And Kelly, I think you're right. Part of his style is, okay, he's Stackhouse. He's an NBA All-Star. Players, kind of the Dion effect. You're kind of seeing the same type of thing where players will see through that. Really good high school players, see through that easily.
I told the coach that yesterday. Yeah. I've got another question for y'all, but I told the coach that yesterday. Players always know, man. Like, my agent used to tell me that players always know. If you're not upfront with those guys, and if you're phony, the first ones that figure it out are the locker room.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your next question?
Okay, so the next question I'm going to ask you this is, with Vanderbilt being where they are in football, and that they'll never do this. I get this. They're in the best conference in the country right now. I get it. But could you, would they be better off, maybe playing Ivy League schools in football and then having an SEC? I'm just asking. I don't know. I'm just trying to throw things out there and spitball on the wall.
I don't really know. I used to believe that there was a path to them being respectable.
I think
in football, I've never thought, you've never heard me say, I think they can win the SEC. I've never thought that.
Kelly, let me fire one back at you. You saw Troy this whole season in that conference, a good Sun Belt conference.
Troy would beat the mess out of Vanderbilt.
And I agree, and that's the problem. You say Ivy League, yeah, they could probably compete in the Ivy League. I don't even think they probably get to 6 wins in the Sun Belt, maybe. That's where they're at. There's no positives, and right now,
you got teams like App State Troy, JMU, James Madison, South Alabama would probably beat them. Georgia Southern may have a shot.
Liberty would roll over.
You know,
them.
Liberty would probably Liberty's in Conference USA, but they would probably get. So yeah, I mean
and that's
I don't know, but I go down there at Troy and I'm just mesmerized by how well they're coached, how good they are, the fan support they get down there. Now the other day sucked because it was pouring down rain the whole it rained, then it stopped raining, then it rained, and it stopped raining. But it was I just marvel at what John Summerall and those guys have been able to do, and they're getting like they've got two guys on the D line down there that'll probably they'll go in the National Football League, like a Jamon Solomon kid. I don't know if he came in from anywhere, but they got a kid named Richard Jubinor. He's from Nigeria. He came from Auburn. I mean, that dude, like if you get the defense where they don't have to worry about the run anymore, dude, they start terrorizing quarterbacks.
And they've all got great offensive schemes, Kelly. You know that.
Yep.
All great schemes. I mean, would you even call Vanderbilt's offense a scheme this year, George? What was that?
I have no idea what they were trying to do. I know this. The first step he's got to do now as he tries to get quarterbacks to consider him, he's got to hire an offensive coordinator who can sell something to those kids. That's the first thing that's got to happen, like this week.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah, they need a strength and conditioning coach too.
That might be a good idea as well. I think more and more the staff that Clark brought here doesn't look very impressive.
Well, initially, if you remember, it was a pretty solid staff. His defensive coordinator was Jesse Minter, who's at Michigan now.
Right.
He got plucked away.
Yeah.
They brought a guy over from Wisconsin, but like they were all defensive guys. All the great coaches he brought in were pretty much all on the defensive side. Offensively, if you remember, Kelly, we talked about this. They brought in David Rye, who was a receiver coach from Green Bay, and I think he was in Arizona for a little bit. And they brought him in as a co-offensive coordinator with Joey Lynch, I think, initially. And then, that obviously didn't work out. He was fired. Rye was fired before the season even started. So
Did he stay on as a receiver coach? Did he stay on as a receiver coach?
Demoted.
He was demoted.
You're right, yeah. But then after that season, he was let go. And so right off the bat, you're like, what are they trying to do offensively? And they haven't figured it out.
Well, this is a critical off season for them, because if it looks even remotely like it did this year, next year, boy, I don't know. I know we got to go to the break. Are we going to do studs and duds?
Yeah.
Go ahead and put them up there, and
I want to get to a piece of breaking news, though, and we'll hit one more break after this.
Okay. Lay it on us.
But, George.
Oh, yeah. Whoop-de-doo.
Okay. According to Pete Thamel, Alabama quarterback Tyler Buckner is in the NCAA transfer portal as a men's lacrosse player.
Well,
he's a former quarterback at Notre Dame. His Alabama bio says he played lacrosse in high school. He's expected to explore his lacrosse options this spring.
Hey, I'm sorry, but that's what he needs to do.
Yes. We're all for it. Okay, studs and duds. We ready?
Yeah.
Okay, studs and duds. Here we go. Imagine that, Alabama. What a studly performance. Keep going. Texas.
Hook 'em.
Hook 'em. The eyes of Texas are upon us.
First
Whatever
since
that
09.
means.
They hadn't won it since 09.
Impressive. Oklahoma State did not play a lick of defense.
No, they didn't.
Liberty went undefeated, 13-0, and beat Diego Pavia and the New Mexico State Aggies. Great year for Liberty.
Mm-hmm. And they get to play, these group of five schools get to play the conference title at home. So they get that. They earned it.
They earn it.
Yeah.
And the fourth, Troy. This is a tribute to Kelly Holcomb.
Hey, that Kamani Vidal kid that you're showing there, he broke the NCAA record. He had 5 touchdowns in that game as a running back.
Wow.
Is he in the portal?
Unbelievable.
Now to the duds.
He's got to be in the portal after this unless he doesn't have eligibility.
No, he's graduating. He's probably going to get a shot to go in the pros.
Okay.
The duds. Oregon. Come on. I fell for it. I believed in you. You got no running game. Your offensive line couldn't push anybody in that game. Very disappointing.
And I was watching Oregon. They don't have very many playmakers. I mean, other like Bo Nix is really the guy on offense. I don't really have like Washington had a couple of receivers. They were just pitching and catching.
He's not winning the Heisman.
No, he's not.
May not
Keep
now.
going. Iowa. Oh, you talk about an offense that, I mean, how many times do you go out there in a game and just do the same thing over and over and over? You got a quarterback who can't hit the broadside of the barn. I mean, I'll tell you
it's pretty funny to watch.
I'll tell you what it reminded me of. It reminded me of a couple of the Vandy teams I broadcast when Damian Allen was the quarterback. Couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, and great defense, totally wasted.
Poor quarterback too. He has no spatial awareness whatsoever about what's going on around him either. Good gracious.
You know, I feel bad because you don't want to see anybody get fired, but I will admit that there is a level of incompetence that I saw yesterday. I cannot remember ever seeing an NFL team have 2 punts blocked in the same game, much less back-to-back. The punter damn near got killed.
Yeah.
Move on. Nice offense.
In 9 innings.
Yes, the Patriot way.
They've given up.
You know, more and more, it looks like it was Brady that was the brilliance.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the greatest quarterback ever, and to do all the work that he did, and yeah, I mean, it kind of shows you right there. I mean, they're bad, man. How can you go from winning all those games to being so bad?
They started Bailey Zappi, the former Western Kentucky star.
Yep.
The problem was this was not La Tech they were playing. The LA stood for Los Angeles Chargers. We'll go to the break, and then we'll get to Plaster, bet of the day. We didn't get to do any over the weekend, Kelly, and I'll explain why when we come back.
I want to hear it myself.
I do too.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic, name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com. Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
Final segment on a Monday. Bengals and Jaguars down in Jacksonville tonight. Jags are favored by 10, and the Bengals have fallen off. We'll see where George is going for bet of the day tonight. We got to do a little bit of recap first. It's brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. Give them a call, 615-242-9000.
What are we recapping? Your flat tire?
It was a little worse than just one.
Okay, but that is the reason we were not on Friday. And
Yes.
Kelly, I do appreciate. I think Kelly was concerned that I'd been put like in an old folks home. And
I thought the dude had a heart attack or something. I was scared to death.
So these are what I gave you, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I had Alabama over Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. UNLV, Chiefs. Okay.
You didn't make these public, though, so I guess.
Well, I didn't have the chance to.
That's true.
I didn't have the forum.
You got one win at least.
Oh, and it was the one that mattered.
Yeah, it was.
So let's get to tonight. I don't know. I mean, Cincinnati at times feels like a team that has pitched it in. No Joe Burrow, no offense. Kelly, at some point, they got to play with a little zip.
Yeah, 10 points is a lot, especially in the National Football League on a Monday night.
Yes.
I don't care how bad you are. Guys do not want to get exposed on a Monday night when you're the only game. So I would have gone with the Bengals as well.
Now, do I think Cincinnati's going to win? Absolutely not. And if you think this one excites you for Monday night, next Monday night, the Titans go to the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, gosh.
Who scheduled that?
Wow. Who'd they piss off? Who'd ESPN piss off?
I don't know. That's going to be
that game.
That's going to be a big Dolphins spotlight fest, though.
You think?
One of those where they talk about the Titans for about 10 minutes because they have to.
Yeah. They'll show a picture of Kevin Byard.
You know how they advertise they promote these games and they'll show one player from one team and one player from the other. I would guess it's Levis, but for the Titans right now, I mean, who do you go with?
I think it's I think it's a tribute to the punt team.
I saw the Patriots and Steelers Thursday night a couple of days ago. They just put up Belichick for the Patriots.
Okay, my cynicism has to improve by tomorrow. I've got to get a better attitude. Kelly, I promise I will. Why are we not hearing Kelly?
We lost you, Kelly.
I mean, you keep muting me and unmuting me. Like, keep me on, Billy. I mean, what are we doing? Like, be professional at some point. You know what I'm saying? Here's what I'm worried about, George. We all know what happened the other day, but then the show didn't go on. And I'm scared that I'm scared that you are allowing Billy to have way too much leverage. And I personally hope that Billy does not have an agent, because if he does, he's going to break the show.
Billy, is that true?
May or may not be true.
Have you sent your resume to Knoxville?
Not yet.
He'll be on tomorrow. This is a good time to send it out. A lot of transfer portal, that kind of stuff.
Billy's heading to the transfer portal. There's no question. And when we can't function without Billy, he's got a little bit too much leverage, George. We've got to take some of that away. We've got to figure out something here where we can get somebody in the wings.
Can I take my cynicism to a new level for one more minute?
Please.
The stupidest commercial in television is this thing where they tell you that if your life goes bad, we'll get you an emergency pizza. Really?
Wow.
If that's the case, send the damn thing now. I need it. See you tomorrow.
See you.